Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Yes, it's the Skeptic Zone podcast, episode number 897 for the 14th of December 2025. Richard Saunders coming to you from cloudy Sydney, Australia. Later, I think we're getting some rain, or at least storms, or at least tornadoes and hails and cats and dogs and who knows what. It's been very hot here lately and then cool. It's a bit of a strange season. I wonder what the weather is like in Melbourne, if you're listening in Melbourne. Always like to give a shout out to those people in Melbourne, especially the northern bits. Are you rugged up? But anyway, what's coming up on this week's episode of the Skeptic Zone? Are you under psychic attack? Very serious question. Stop laughing. Are psychics attacking you? Not running up in the street and whacking you over the head with a shovel or something like that. Are they sending negative, bad energies, whatever that means, and attacking you on the astral plane? Not the aeroplane, but the astral plane. Are psychics attacking you? Or are evil entities attacking you? This is what's known as a psychic attack. And some people, I think, probably, some people think it's real. They really do. And where are they? Well, of course, they're all over TikTok and other social media. To kick off this week's show, we're going to be looking at psychic attack, what people think it is, and what people think you can do about it, which is interesting because the cures or the protection seems to range from doing this to doing that to doing all sorts of things to protect yourself from these evil psychics. There you go. I thought psychics were all supposed to be good. And not to give any spoilers for any upcoming content in the show, but I think the best defense against a psychic attack is skepticism. Somehow, when you give up superstition and magical thinking and embrace critical thinking, well, you know what? The psychic attacks seem to really be on the wane in that case. I haven't had one for weeks. After that, getting our feet back on the ground. After that, you can count on Adrienne with Adrienne Hil. And Adrienne interviews a former ghost hunter, Jon Michael. And it's a great lesson in how even a skeptic can be successful in the spiritual circles, so to speak, and even end up speaking at conferences and things like DragonCon, the wonderful, crazy event in Atlanta, Georgia every year with thousands of cosplayers. Maybe I should be a ghost hunter instead, I don't know. Then it's for Cryin Out Loud, it's Kat McLeod, also actually one of the loons, of course, with Adrienne. She's one of the loons, and this is a really interesting one. Kat interviews the students at the PSYCH 441 class at MacEwan University in Edmonton, and it's like she's conducting a very clever experiment with good and bad luck and objects. Can objects, everyday objects or things handed down to you, hold luck, influence luck, lucky charms, that sort of thing? And I really love these field reports where Kat and Adrienne and the other reporters get out there and interview people in the field. Well, in this case, in the classroom. Will a curse be unleashed? Find out with Kat McLeod. Then to round off the show, of course, it's back to the digital archives. This time I think it's Google Newspapers, where we're going to look at teacup reading. Oh yes, tea leaf reading, also known as Tasseography. Are you about to have a cup of tea? You can read your tea leaves along with myself and Lara Benham, who will be also reading out some of the interesting news items to do with reading your tea leaves. And just wait till you hear her new microphone. Now, before we get started on this week's show with the first report, thank you to those people who have been contacting me about the live Skeptic Zone, the Why Smart Women Zone of last week. Of course, you can see that on YouTube. And the part at the end of both the audio version and the video version where we had what can only be really called an anti-vaxxer come and, without any prompting, yell at us. And yell at us. In fact, at one stage she was yelling so much I had to take off my headphones because the yelling was coming through the sound system. It was too loud. If you haven't seen or heard that, then I recommend you do so at the end of last week's episode. And that rant has caused a lot of interest in the skeptical community, sections of the skeptical community, where they've been looking at some of the points, if you can call them that she was trying to make. And I think last week I said ultimately we're grateful for this woman for coming along and ranting because it was unsolicited. It wasn't set up. She just came along and behaved like a person with a axe to grind, with an obsession. Which just reminds me before we start that Professor Dave over on his YouTube channel has just released a video about the origins of the COVID-19 vaccination to counter all the people who think it's a conspiracy invented by governments. Anyway, that's enough for me at the moment. It's time for me to run downstairs and have a cup of tea, of course, so I can read my tea leaves. And they probably will say, have another cup of tea while I do that. I hope you enjoy the Skeptic Zone. My friends, I'd like to bring a very grave situation to your attention. We could be at any moment. In fact, we probably are right now under psychic attack. Yes, there seems to be a certain portion of the population who really think that they are, or we are, or anybody can be under psychic attack. What is psychic attack? Well, it depends on who you ask. So, let's go to the fountain of all knowledge and wisdom and interesting ideas, TikTok. And we find there are many people on TikTok who not only think they are under psychic attack, they think you are too, but fear not. They also have advice on how you can counter or cure or fix or protect yourself or cleanse yourself from a psychic attack. Let's see what the TikTok channel of The Spiritual Life has to say on this important matter.
Here are 3 signs that you're experiencing a psychic attack. So here we go. Sign number 1, low energy, as though something has literally drained the life out of you. Number 2, being plagued by negative thoughts, which is totally out of character for you. Number 3, having nightmares and disturbed sleep. Psychic attacks can be sent from either someone that you know or even a spiritual force. If somebody is sending you negative vibes, this is a psychic attack. So tip number 1, this is where you know the person or think you know the person. So this is a really cool trick, okay? So if you feel as though somebody's sending you lots of negative energy, tear off a piece of paper, write their name on it, fold it up nice and tight, nice and small, and pop it in a small container like an ice cube tray and fill it up with water, shove it in the freezer. If you think it's a spiritual force affecting you, then raise your vibration, cleanse thoroughly, completely clear your aura. Just imagine yourself floating up to the sky, to the heavens.
So the signs to look out for are low energy, negative thoughts, and bad sleeps. I think I have those occasionally. I wonder if I'm under psychic attack. I wonder. Never mind. Next time I'll be sure to write someone's name or something's name on a piece of paper and put it in the freezer. Talk about giving somebody the cold shoulder or the cold something, or I just have to cleanse my aura. Or something else, I'm not sure. Maybe we should look for a second opinion. What does 7, S-E-V-Y-N, of the stars have to say on this important matter?
Are you being psychically attacked? I'm going to teach you a technique that will 100% clear anything from your field instantaneously. Are you ready? You're going to first close your eyes, and you're going to feel your energy. It should be about 3 to 6 feet from your body. And you're going to feel that energy, then you're going to expand it first to the size of the room. And then on the in-breath, you're going to bring it back in. On the out-breath, you're going to expand your energy to the size of the building that you're in. You're going to bring your energy back in, then expand it to the size of the city that you're in. Bring it back in, and expand it to the size of the state. Bring it back in, expand it to the size of the country. Bring it back in, expand it to the size of the earth. Bring it back in, expand it to the size of the galaxy. Bring it back in, expand it to the size of the universe. Bring it back in, expand it to the size of the all. Once you have it to the size of the all, you're going to let it pulse there. And if you are being psychically attacked, what this does is it teaches you everything is self, and everything is a fractal of your consciousness playing the role as the other.
Right. I hope you're all taking notes. A fractal of your... Anyway, yes, so in order to cleanse yourself of a psychic attack, it appears you just have to expand your energy to the size of the all, which is bigger than the size of the universe. It's been a long time since I've done that. But let's keep seeking more advice. Here we go. Ash's Supernatural Sagas. And I remind you all that as far as I can tell, when I'm doing this research here and looking at these people, they seem to be genuine and serious. Maybe not all. Sometimes you just don't know. But it reminds us that a lot of people out there really do think this way. Okay, Ash, let's hear it.
So psychic attack that's done intentionally, let's talk about it. Because recently I have seen, honestly, mass amounts of cases of intentional psychic attack. Now, intentional psychic attack is always done via psychics, healers, or spiritual practitioners of some kind, people who know how to manipulate energy. And intentionally attacking people can cause people quite a lot of harm. And I'm going to talk about what I see in the auric field when someone is under intentional psychic attack. So when someone is under intentional psychic attack, I see knives in the back when in their energy field. Sometimes it can be on the shoulder, and this is where the shoulder pain comes from. But I can see them in the backstabbing, literal, that's within the energy field. So this can happen either via black magic, hexes, curses, but it can also happen via thought form as well. So if a psychic healer or spiritual practitioner of some kind feels very envious towards someone, feels hatred, anger, anything like that, then they can will people ill with their thoughts, and they do this intentionally because they are fully aware of the harm that their thought forms can cause. So they do it intentionally, and this is what...
Let me stop it there before it gets too dramatic. Now, she is saying that psychic attack can occur, or does occur, from psychics or healers or spiritual people like that. Who knew? I always thought this was supposed to be beneficial energies and people reaching out with love to the universe, etc., etc. But no. According to Ash, some of these people can will you sick with their thoughts. Of course, this is akin to witchcraft, and it's hard to think of a more stark example of magical thinking. You think something, that something will happen. You think somebody should be sick, that person gets sick. Maybe that explains why I had COVID last year. I wonder if the channel of Remember Your Song has a different angle on this pressing situation.
Psychic attacks or energetic attacks, they are real. And if you don't believe, that's okay. But what I do want to say is that with the eye today, you cannot even see 1% of the energy that exists in the universe today. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. Now that we have that cleared up, let's define what a psychic attack is, at least to me. It's a situation or an event where you feel that your well-being, your energy, and just overall spiritual essence is being exploited and or harmed. But there is no physical explanation for why, because it is being done by negative energies, malintended entities, etc. I recently made a video about some observations.
Malintended entities. Oh, I think I was playing a video game once which had malintended entities in it, and I had to shoot them with arrows. Now remember, a lot of people simply do not have a clear or good understanding of the word energy, and they will use it in almost any context to mean just about anything they happen to want to express at the moment. Someone is attacking your energy, your energetic field, negative energy, positive energy. Your energy field of your aura goes out to the size of the planet, whatever the case may be. We are all made of energy. The universe is energy. The word is used constantly. If you go to Mind Body Wallet, first of all, Mind Body Spirit, and you ask around, you will hear the word being used in any context that the person speaking thinks it should be used or could be used. So with that in mind, let's spend a little bit more energy and listen to some more advice. And here's some wise words from Monarch, Monarch, identity architect, who has a very short haircut.
So you've heard me speak about psychic attacks, but I want to go into what exactly are psychic attacks. Psychic attacks are simply frequencies that aren't harmonic with your mind, your body, your energy, that try to invade your thought patterns or aura. When a psychic attack occurs, your mind hears an intrusive thought that isn't aligned with what you were previously thinking. This intrusive thought then gets in between your thought patterns or tries to direct your thought patterns to cause stress, to loop, to worry, or to fear. Psychic attacks are all about distraction, doubt, depression, and also deception. Intrusive thoughts and psychic attacks are one and the same.
So there we are. Now what these people are talking about, of course, are natural human emotions that ebb and flow. We all have good days and bad days. And I don't think it's very helpful to look for someone to blame somewhere else on the planet sending you negative energy or using their psychic abilities to make you sick. Once upon a time, they burnt poor innocent people, mostly women, at the stake because they thought these people were witches. This, to me, is a very similar way of thinking, that there can be people out there, healers, psychics, whatever they want to call them, making you ill, causing you bad thoughts. In other words, just doing harm. Luckily for, well, most of the planet anyway, we have abandoned these ideas that someone like a witch can practice witchcraft to send you evil spells. Well, most of us have abandoned these ideas. Seems to be a lot of people on TikTok who think this is still a thing. And again, once upon a time, it was this sort of thinking that led people to burn women, mostly women, at the stake for being witches. Are we under a psychic attack? I don't think so, because you are probably like me. We have a shield against psychic attack which works very well, and that shield is called critical thinking. When you abandon superstition and magical thinking, then you are very well protected indeed. You can count on Adrienne with Adrienne Hil.
Hello, everybody. This is Adrienne Hil from Skookum Studios in Calgary, Canada, and I'm here with a really special friend. all the way from Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome, Jon Michael.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me.
It's so nice to talk to you again. We met at the Skepticamp in Raleigh. When was that, in May?
It was May, yeah. It was right in the middle of May.
I was so excited about your talks that I did interview you. So you're going to have to check that episode out. Oh, I should have looked that up.
Episode 875.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being my brain, Jon.
You're welcome. You're for you.
We've talked before. I just wanted to have a longer chat with you and to find a little bit more about you from your past, as well as what you've been up to since the Skepticamp. Can you first talk a little bit about your ghost hunting adventures before you were a skeptic?
Yeah, absolutely. So in seminary, which is probably the last place you would think of where you would become interested in ghost hunting, from there, for a couple of years, I went out and about and I would watch other people have these experiences that I would perceive were just absolutely nothing. And nothing was really happening to me either. And I slowly became skeptical because of that. I wound up meeting Kenny Biddle, I think around 2008, maybe later, maybe 2010, but at some point. I met Kenny around that time.
And Kenny Biddle is the chief investigator for the Center for Inquiry up in Amherst, New York.
Yes. All around great guy, but you'll never hear me say it out loud. And so that's where I met him. And he helped a lot in my journey also towards skepticism. But one day I kept investigating, but I didn't really necessarily believe in what I was doing. And just one day, I just kind of realized, hey, actually, I am a skeptic. It was like a slow progression towards it. So now what I do is I go about to other ghost hunting teams. I have done a few, I'll put it in quotations, investigations, paranormal investigations in this year alone. Just a few weeks, I was out at the Devil's Tramping Ground, which is a place here in North Carolina where the devil supposedly comes out to do his thinking, and he tramples in a circle as he thinks.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a local North Carolina legend. Unfortunately, did not find the devil, but maybe next time. I go out there to help teams critically think and kind of think through what they're doing, and I go and speak at paranormal and skeptic conferences and nerd conferences also about critical thinking.
Going back to that Devil's
Tramping Ground.
The Devil's Tramping Ground.
Yes.
Were most of the people there believers expecting to see something?
Oh, absolutely. They all were. So normally when I work with somebody, everyone is a believer. That's the space that I work in. They were seeing lights and things like that, and it's still kind of a mystery. I unfortunately didn't see the lights, so that's still a little bit of a mystery. I did help them realize that one of the things they could have been seeing were actually the stars in the trees. As the trees swayed, the stars were lower on the horizon, and that was actually causing little pops of light. And it's one of those things if you don't think about and you don't look up at the sky very often, like I do, I literally just walk outside and look straight up.
Right, yes.
But if you're not looking outside all the time, the sky can be strange, and people may call them stupid, they couldn't tell there were stars swaying, but that's how our mind works. Our minds trick us very easily.
Very much so.
If you're expecting to see something strange, and you do, they put the puzzle pieces together, but the puzzle pieces didn't quite fit. So helped them out with that.
So the descriptions that they were giving were like twinkling lights, small twinkling lights?
Well, they were saying pops of light. So they were saying they could stare off into the woods, and to their perspective, it looked like there was a pop of light in the woods. What was really going on is they didn't realize they were actually looking at the sky, not towards the ground. And so whenever the trees swayed, they would see that pop of light, and really it was just a star.
Oh, so interesting. And when it's dark outside, our mind is even more likely to play tricks on us.
Yes. So you're at a place where you're thinking the devil's going to come out at any second. You're already a little on edge.
You're primed.
Yeah. Even as a skeptic, man, it feels weird being out there. So you're primed, and it's nighttime. You're seeing strange lights for sure.
And I think that you probably heard in our past episodes where we were up at MacEwan University, and I actually had a psychomantium experience. Did you hear that episode?
I did. I'm still catching up on my podcast, like we talked about earlier, but no, I'm very interested. I want to build my own.
Oh, so you actually know what it is?
Yes.
I had no idea. I'd never heard of it before, and Rod had me set it up. And just being in the dark, being primed, and he told me what might happen, and it did. And it was really quite terrifying. If you didn't understand what's going on, it would be very easy to think supernatural, to think spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call it. And I think that that's really important. And that's what I love about what you do is you try to build that understanding and compassion. Like you said, they're not stupid. It's understandable that we will make these leaps. Our brain does that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the presentations I give, I actually focus on how our minds can play tricks on us. And I actually use, I forget the actual like official name of the effect, but it's essentially like a blurred face effect, where if you stare at the middle of a screen while two faces are constantly changing kind of in your peripheral vision, they'll eventually start to look really scary, distorted, and strange. And that's pretty much what's happening. That's the effect that's occurring, or a very similar effect in the psychomantium, where you're like seeing these like strange things and your mind starts to put the pieces together and make sense of ultimately meaningless experiences. So I love sharing that presentation with people because I think it opens them up to be like, okay, I know that these faces are normal faces and my mind is playing tricks on me. So if my mind can play tricks on me in this completely controlled experience, how much more so can it at a allegedly haunted location? So
exactly.
And walking around the dark and all that. So I love talking about that stuff.
And people receive you. They're very open to you coming to these. They invite you to these events. I think because one, you don't make fun of them and you're kind and they're interested. I think people want to learn. Would that be a fair assessment?
I think so. I mean, it's always weird to say like, I'm so kind. I hope so. You know, and that's something I'm trying to like figure out as well so I can help other skeptics out. I have never had the issue, and I hear it from a lot of people that I've talked to where like they can't get invited to places, they can't get into places. I have to turn places down.
Wow.
Yeah, because I just don't have time. I was invited to an event a few weeks ago, Haunted Travels Weekend, where a psychic, Sam Baltrusis, wanted me to come talk about critical thinking. This is a psychic at a psychic event wanting me to talk about critical thinking. Amazing, right?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I was at the Paranormal Research Symposium. I had submitted a paper, which that symposium was essentially a paranormal conference, and a lot of the talks, which actually were good talks, like very well educated. I didn't agree with almost any of the conclusions. They mostly arrived at ghosts, but very well researched stuff. And I would like to see more of that in the paranormal world. Like I submitted a paper and they accepted it and they had me come in and I actually got to talk about the scientific method and falsification and why we should try to disprove our beliefs instead of trying to prove them. And like they gave me the time and the room was full. Wow. It was amazing. And so, yeah, people let me in and I'm very grateful for it. I don't know why.
Do you think it's partly because of your connection to the ghost community prior to becoming a skeptic?
For sure. I mean, that's definitely how a lot of doors opened for me initially.
They knew you.
Yeah.
They knew you're a nice guy.
Right. And I haven't always been nice.
And you are a nice guy, Jon.
Oh, thank you.
You're
thank
nice.
You. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think those prior connections help. The paranormal world in a lot of ways is like one big family. And there's multiple families within that family. And so sometimes it can be a name drop for like a certain individual, and that's all you need to hear, and they'll let you in. So I think it has a lot to do with that. I have devoted, a decade of my life in my spare time to like talking about critical thinking with this community. And so I have built up, I hope, some kind of rapport with people, and they don't think that I'm just coming in and calling them an idiot. My name gets mentioned when I'm not around about critical thinking, and usually in a very supportive way. So I'm humbled.
And I think it helps people think in a different way, because I know in our last conversation you talked about that, and I think that's a wonderful thing. But let's move on now to your more skeptical work. You got to talk at DragonCon this year.
I did. And do you know who just happened to help me out with that opportunity?
It's amazing how, as long as you've got connections, right?
Yeah, and Adrienne is a great connection to have, you guys.
Well, I think we can credit Angela Matkey, Dr. Angie Matkey, because she was really the one who got you in. I just connected you two together.
Well, you're the one that I wouldn't have known what direction to go in without you. So thank you for that.
Not a problem. And you had a good time?
I did. It was life-changing, legitimately. So, prior on the show, we had talked about, I think Susan had said, man, I hope Jon speaks more. And at the time, I didn't have anything like signed up yet.
You're referring to Susan Gerbic, correct?
Correct, Susan Gerbic, yes. And yeah, I've spoke a lot. I think I've spoken 10 or 11 times this year, and I'm already lining up stuff next year. It's been a wild adventure. But DragonCon for me, and I mean this, was life-changing, legitimately life-changing. I was able to connect with people like Leanne Lord, Ian Harris, that actually finally met Celestia Ward from Squaring the Strange. And just that alone, like meeting people and having that affirmation and confirmation that your family is here. You know, I talked to Leanne. She told me that this was her chosen family. And I'm adopted, so I get that, right? And for me, it was like having these people like welcome me in, like I'm part of this family. It was just life-changing.
Instantly part of the family too, right?
Instantly. Yeah, it was just an immediate like, please, like there's room at the table, please sit, please talk. And actually, it was myself, Daniel Reed, and another lady, Alex Matsuo, who I also know pretty well. She's also a paranormal investigator. She is not a skeptic. Daniel Reed is West Virginia Skeptic Society. He is a skeptic. But we were on a panel together actually on the skeptic track. So they actually invited Alex in. And our panel was on cryptids. And they were literally turning people away because they didn't have sitting room for the room. Like we were one of two, I believe, as far as I'm aware. Like we were the second largest panel in terms of like audience attendance. I think they said about 10% of the people had to be turned away.
That's amazing.
And so they actually re-invited us for a second panel that night because they had a cancellation. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, wild first Dragon Con, right?
So you were on stage 3 times.
Yes, I was on stage 3 times. I'd also given a very similar presentation that you heard. I talked about empathy to everybody. So I gave a short presentation and then we had a panel on that as well. It was absolutely wonderful. Also dressing up in cosplay, I never got it. But I had to, as part of the parade, I had to dress up as Scooby-Doo. And then I just kind of walked around the rest of the day as Scooby-Doo. And now I get it. I understand cosplay and why it's so great. It's amazing. That Scooby-Doo outfit was like $20 off Amazon. Just go get something like that and embrace it. And people will just high-five you. You'll find other Scooby-Doos that are really proud of that you're a Scooby-Doo. You'll find a lot of Velmas, which was really fun for me. And it's great. It's people just embrace you. You'll see kids during the parade. Oh, they're so excited to see you. It was great. I don't have words to talk about just how great Dragon Con was. It was amazing.
You've been busy.
I've been so busy.
Yeah. So I'm so excited to hear about your progress and your successes since Skepticamp. And that's a little plug for Skepticamps as well, right? We connect, we make new friends, and we help to grow the community, hopefully. And you're a classic example of that. So I'm so excited to hear what a great year you've had. And it sounds like you're going to have another exciting year next year because you've already been asked to talk.
Yes. Yep.
I just want to thank you for joining me today. And can you tell the listeners how they can find you?
Yes. So when we talked last, I was like, man, one of these days I'll have my social media stuff up. But then I started talking everywhere and I haven't got any of it up yet. However, if you search Jon Michael Has Questions, that's Jon, Jon Michael Has Questions, you'll find me on practically any platform. I'm out there and I have promised myself 3 to 4 weeks is when I get my first YouTube video out. I'm going to have those rolling out here soon.
Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait to see your first video. You'll send it to me, correct?
Yes. And I've said it on here, so I've got to do it now.
You do. You have to. And maybe we can have you back on afterwards and we can post the link in the show notes and do all those fun things.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yes, please.
Yeah, you heard it on the show. He has to have it done in 3 weeks.
Just wait a while before you release this one.
Okay, I'll wait a while.
Maybe 6 months.
Oh, I don't think it'll be that long. Well, thanks so much again, Jon. And until next time, this is Adrienne Hil from Skookum Studios in Calgary, Canada. Talk to you later. Yeah. I'll probably leave that part in. For crying out loud. It's Kat McLeod.
Hello. Once again, this is Kat McLeod coming to you from MacEwan University in Edmonton, Canada. A few weeks ago, fellow reporter Adrienne Hil and I gave the students of Dr. Rodney Schmaltz's psych class an assignment. They were to look for things, either good or bad, that come in threes. Longtime listeners will be laughing right about now. I also had 4 people volunteer for a special assignment. 2 of them were given good luck charms. They are 4-leaf clovers that my grandfather brought back for my sister and I from Ireland. Then one lucky volunteer got to take home a box of haunted items that has never been out of my family's possession, pun intended. And finally, the most brave person of all got to take home a cursed box that I got from a voodoo practitioner when I was in New Orleans. Now I'm back to talk to the class and find out how they made out on their assignment.
So, you had my good luck charm, didn't you? Well, you had one of the good luck charms, though, too, didn't you?
Yeah.
You did. Anything happen?
Oh yeah, I got a whole journal of stuff that happened. Okay, I had a lot happen.
And you can introduce yourself for the zone, too, if you want. If you want people to know who you are.
I'm Campbell Kerr. That's who I am.
Campbell Kerr, all right.
I had a lot happen. I also had a lot not happen.
Ooh, okay, do tell.
So the first day you gave it to me, when I was driving to that ghost hunt, I only had 2 red lights I encountered. So that's pretty lucky. And then the next day, I slept in by accident completely. I was like, oh no, I'm going to miss my class. Sad day. No sad day, because the class was canceled.
Oh.
The professor was sick. It was awesome.
Well, not for the instructor.
Well, no. My good luck, not theirs.
That's right.
So, and then on October 24th, I got hired at MacEwan for the sustainability, I guess, group that program thing they have. Yay! So that was awesome. And then on October 27th, that was the Skepticamp presentation. Me and Reinhardt over here, we did pretty good. I was happy with how it went. I don't know if that was luck or just planning, but I'm going to say it was luck.
I think it's both.
So I was happy about that. And then afterwards, I went to a bar to watch the Blue Jays game, and I won a shirt. So
there you go.
I never win shirts. I haven't won one in my... Actually, that was my second time winning one in my whole life.
And even though the Skepticamp, I mean, I can't remember if you were there in the evening or not, but it went till late. And when I got home, I thought, game's over. No, game went 18 innings.
Yeah, it's true. I was not happy with that game.
No, me neither.
but a note I made on that Blue Jays shirt victory, there's only about 20 people in that bar, because that was on a weekday. That was Monday, so the likelihood of me winning was extremely high. So then the last thing that had happened, because to be honest, I kind of forgot to keep track, and also because nothing was happening. But today I found a dime.
Woo-hoo.
So that's awesome. But
so what didn't happen?
I don't know. It didn't happen.
Like, were you hoping you'd have good luck for something and it didn't?
Oh yeah, I guess. Like I was just like, am I gonna win money somehow? Like I didn't play the lottery or anything. Actually, that's not true. I was at that same Boston Pizza where I watched the game. I was on slots and put $20 in and won nothing. So I was hoping I'd like make a lot of money. I made $0.
Was it fun?
Yeah, the luck was fun. Do I have to give it back?
If you want it, you can keep it.
No, it's yours.
No,
I feel
thinking. Who else had? You had my other good luck charm.
My name is Sol.
You had a good luck charm?
I did. I kind of forgot that I had it, low-key. Except for just the week after. I don't really remember that much, but all I remember was... So then the following Friday, I had another really long presentation. It was like an hour-and-a-half presentation with a friend. I was nervous about that, but killed it. So, lucky charm. And then I was really busy at work lately, and then the following week was the Skepticamp. And then the next night, my friend asked me to go to an Oilers game with her. And then there was also, I think it was Halloween that following week. Yeah. Whatever, anyways. I was worried that I'd be working on any of these days that I had plans for. And then I didn't I got scheduled on the days that I wasn't busy. And I told my friend that it was because of the good luck charm. Bad luck, I guess. I always get lottery tickets on the 27th because that's my lucky number. And then I wasn't lucky. I didn't win. So, but good luck though. In the past, I guess ever since I've gotten the good luck charm, I've been to the casino a few times.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm up $800, so thank you. Thank you.
So you had my delightful haunted box that has been passed down from mother and grandmother all the way down to moi. Introduce yourself if you wish.
I'm Autumn. I had the haunted box. I'm not sure if it had grave dirt in it or if those were ashes.
Should have had both.
Oh, okay, so it was both. Yeah, I wasn't sure what the one from Salem
you
was.
opened
Yes, I did
up,
open it.
yes.
My younger sibling was not happy about it being in the house because they take this stuff more seriously than I do.
So you weren't believing in the haunted objects?
Didn't have a lot of belief in it. I didn't think it would have much impact on my luck, although I did get a C- on a midterm, which is the lowest I've gotten in like 3 years.
Bad grandmothers. So, but no weird bumps in the night, nothing freaking out your sibling?
Not that I'm aware of.
And did you open it all up?
I did.
And went through it all and
Yep.
Nothing big happened?
Nope.
We can go through the box later if you want. And now on to the cursed item. Do you want to be on the zone or no? Yeah, you'll be on the zone?
I had more to report. In fact, I had better luck than I've ever had.
You've had better luck.
Yeah,
I love that.
I know. I got a good promotion at work.
Woohoo!
And found a good job that pays very well as my second job too, and it's dog sitting. So
oh, sweet.
Gonna be around dogs all the time now. I can't say I've had bad luck with it.
Did you open it on Halloween?
We did, yes. It was about a group of 9 of us before we went out, and 3 or 4 of them didn't want to touch it because they were really spooked out by it. And it's really creepy inside, I will give you that. There's bones and dirt and a little doll.
A voodoo doll?
A voodoo doll that has pins through his heart as well. So he was, and I think someone's hair attached to his head or something. Really spooky, but good luck came from it.
But you got good luck, not bad luck. So it wasn't a curse to you.
No, it was great. Yeah,
That's
they looked after
awesome.
me.
So if anyone wants to go through the boxes, they're more than welcome. The one thing I will have to admit, I suppose, is that I made everything. Now, I didn't lie when I said this had never been out of my family, because I made everything. It is all my stuff. My grandfathers never went to Ireland. It was my great-great-grandfather that came from Ireland. So if it's working for you, I mean, TMI, but I changed my lawn from grass to clover a couple of years ago. You find a 4-leaf clover, you dry it, you make a fun thing. So yeah, everything, including the voodoo doll, I made in the cursed box. And that is a mat from a stray cat that is on the hair of the voodoo doll. His name's Andy, and yes, I have a photo if you want to see Andy. So there was dirt from my 9 times great-grandmother. Now, my 9 times great-grandmother, Mary, did live in Salem at the time of the witch trials. That was not a lie. There's supposedly dirt from Mary's garden in the haunted box, as there is dirt from Robert Picton's pig farm in the cursed box. I've never been to New Orleans. I don't know any voodoo practitioners. I just had a lot of fun crafting. I wrote a lovely letter from Zozo, a 200-year-old demon. So anything that you looked at and went on and Googled and did a thing about, there was like witchcraft and voodoo in there. Yeah, I tea-stained that paper myself. Everything in the haunted box. There was cremains from Lita Richardson in both boxes. That Lita Richardson is my great-grandmother. Just so you know, I didn't actually put ashes in these boxes, but yeah, I made everything in there. And there's a letter in there from my great-grandmother as well, supposedly. But not. I made it all up, and all it was confirmation bias. Excellent example of, if you believe it to be true, something weird maybe happened to you, and you'll attribute it to either the good luck or the bad luck. And that's all I had. It was a lot of fun to do.
With that, a big thank you. Well, thanks very much. So what we're going to do, and Kat will be sticking around for the paranormal challenge too, so if anybody does have questions later, you can talk to her again if anybody wants.
So sadly, nobody in the class managed to find anything that happened in threes, either good news or bad news. Either that or they just forgot about the assignment. After my talk and the homework, the class participated in the CFI's Paranormal Challenge because they help write and suggest protocols for these challenges. We were able to observe the test, and sadly in this instance, they did not pass the preliminary testing. But it was very interesting to see and explore the different protocols that could be used. Next week, the class is going to participate in their third CFI Paranormal Challenge for this term, which is amazing. Kudos to them. And I was able to participate in this week's challenge since I was in the room with them. And next week, I'm going to be participating again. So that's really exciting for me. I'd like to extend my gratitude to the students and to Dr. Rod for allowing me to be a part of their class this term. Signing off from MacEwan University in Edmonton, this is Kat McLeod.
Time to go back to those archives, no matter where they are around the world. Normally at Trove, at trove.nla.gov.au, but today we're going further afield into North America, Canada and the United States. Have a cup of tea. Everybody have a nice cup of tea while we do this Trove segment, because this Trove segment is on Tasseography. Yes, Tasseography, also known as Tasseomancy, Tassology, Tasseology, according to Wikiology, is a divination or fortune-telling method that interprets patterns in tea leaves, coffee grounds, or wine sediments. All right, everybody, have a nice glass of red wine. The term derives from the French word tassi, maybe, cup, which in turn derives from the Arabic loan word into French tassa, and the respective Greek suffix graph, writing, mancy, divination, ology, stuff of. I think, however, for you and me, most people know this is tea leaf reading. Now, I must tell you that the other week I had a big birthday. Aren't all birthdays big? Maybe they are. And Tim Mendham and Hilda Mendham gave me a wonderful present I have here right next to me. It's in a big box here. It's called the Cup of Destiny, a traditional fortune teller's cup and saucer plus illustrated book of interpretations. It's magnificent. Let me open this up. It's a big box here. There we go. It's in a little padded sort of display. I'll take out the teacup. It's a beautiful teacup with all sorts of symbols inside. Along near the rim, it's got a cup, a star, an envelope, an eye, a bell, horseshoe, a heart, a cat, a sun, and other representations here of the planets. And the saucer, which is also packed away. Here's the saucer. Beautiful saucer with the signs of the zodiac all around. An excellent way to have a cup of tea, and I must thank Tim and Hilda very much for that. I think we'll be using this in the not too distant future. Putting that safely away. Yes, I look forward to having my fortune read after having a nice cup of tea in my fortune teller's teacup. But now let's get into the news as once reported and now archived for us around the world. And helping me in today's Trove segment is the Secretary of Australian Skeptics, Lara Benham, who has recently taken possession of a very nice microphone. In fact, if you watch the last episode of the Skeptic Zone, which was the Skeptic Zone Live, the Why Smart Women Zone, on YouTube, you will see that our guests are using, at one location, one of the positions anyway, a pink microphone. A pink microphone. That's the very microphone. Let's hear from Lara Benham.
And this article is from the Sidney Herald on the 20th of February 2008. Tea leaf reading workshop planned in Sydney. I'm just going to pause there to point out this is not Sydney, Australia. This is actually Sydney in Manitoba, Canada. Tanya Lester, who has been called a master tea leaf reader, will be facilitating a tea leaf reading workshop at Shoal Community Centre in Sydney on March the 2nd from 1 to 4 p.m. This is an enjoyable way for participants to better trust the intuition, Lester said. Learning to tea leaf read is an uncanny combination of enjoying each other's company over cups of tea and sharing insights triggered by images or pictures in the leaves after the tea is drunk. In a warm atmosphere, the facilitator will first encourage you to see pictures in the leaves. Then you will go on to read or interpret the leaves. The type of tea to use, the history of the art, many tips, stories, how to complete a tea leaf reading, and to develop your intuition is part of this enjoyable day workshop. Lester has been doing tea leaf readings and workshops for 11 years on Salt Spring Island, in many communities all over Vancouver Island, Vancouver, Powell River, Nelson, Winnipeg, Boulder, Colorado, and Sedona, Arizona. To register for this workshop, please contact Panorama Recreation Centre at 250-656-7271 or info@panoramarec.bc.ca.
And now we turn to the pages of the Windsor Star, and this comes to us from Ontario in Canada, dated the 31st of October, Halloween, 1969. And this story is called Tea Leaf Reader Tuned Into the Problems of Others. And this is a story by Suzanne Borette. And it says here, 5th in the series. I wonder what that's all about. Might have to look back over some other issues. When Madame Gemini makes a cup of tea for her husband, he knows that there is going to be more than just tea leaves lying at the bottom of the cup. Take, for example, the time his wife saw boots in his cup and a uniform cap. She told him he was going to get booted out of his job and start a new one where he would have to wear a uniform. A few weeks later, he was laid off from a job he had worked at for a number of years. Now he is employed as a uniformed letter carrier. But for Madame Gemini, tea leaves are just tea leaves. She hasn't read her own since the time she was expecting her first baby, when she saw a baby buggy without a baby in it. Quote, "All that I saw in the buggy was an indication as if a baby had lain there. I had a cold feeling after that, and I never bought any baby's clothes during the following months. When the baby was born, it only lived for 3.5 hours." End quote. A little bit of a sad story there. Madame Gemini, who works in Detroit, started reading tea leaves when she was 18. Quote, "My mother was a little psychic, so we started reading together. Then I got better than her, so I continued. It's not the tea leaves that hold the message, it's the feeling you get from it. It's the same thing as card reading. I don't believe in them if they're just bred from symbols. I remember studying the tea leaf symbols from a book. After reading the book, I got all confused. I couldn't follow the book's method because it was someone else's idea. I depend on imagination and feeling to read them." End quote. One cup of tea sometimes leads to another and another. Quote, "Sometimes I get so tuned in that I keep reading for hours," end quote, she says. Quote, "But it gets too emotional," end quote. At times the emotion turns face and charges those on the other side of the teacup. Madame Gemini recalls a time when there was a girl present who refused to have her cup read. Quote, "There was a group of women and they were just ready to leave when I turned to the girl and told her not to marry the fellow she was going with because he was an alcoholic and the marriage wouldn't work. The girl was astonished and said, 'How did you know?' End quote. Maybe they were reading the wine. Then there was another instance with a girl who was scared and backed away when she was asked if she wanted her cup read. Quote, I told her it wasn't the present or the future that she didn't want to hear about. It was the past, because she had had an illegitimate baby. She was embarrassed, but I told her not to be ashamed of it." End quote. An amusing incident, Madame Gemini recalls, is the time she was reading a girl's cup and saw her walking down the aisle of a church dressed as a bride. Quote, "I told her she had been married and not been married, because I could see no man. So I asked her if a man hadn't shown up. Then she told me she had been a nun and had walked down the aisle in white to take her vows." While she mostly reads for her family and friends, quote, "I can tell what a girl is going to wear before she comes into the office," end quote. Madame Gemini has strong feelings about things that are about to happen when the sight of tea leaves are miles away. Quote, "I remember the time my father died. I was out shopping and walked into a shop behind a man I felt sure was my father. I felt so close to him I wanted to touch him. Then after I got home, I kept thinking about him and felt sick, so I went to bed. I got a call the next morning informing me of his death." End quote. Sometime after this, Madame Gemini, or is it Madame Gemini? It doesn't matter, I guess, was reading her mother's cup and predicted that she would remarry to a man with the initial B. Quote, "At the time she laughed about it, but it came true. She later married a man named Byron," end quote. While she admits that, quote, "You tend to look for the bad things when you get red," end quote, Madame Gemini has told that she's also made a lot of people happy, giving them something to think about or look forward to. Quote, "I know for myself that when I'm reading cups, I lose myself and forget my own problems," end quote. She thinks that the occult science, tea leaf and card reading, is more popular today than it ever was. Quote, "People seem to grasp for things," end quote. And as typical in these sorts of stories, the reporter here is simply reporting on what this particular woman, Madame Gemini, said to her, with no pretense of critical examination or investigation. I guess that's not what the story was about.
And this article is from the Star News, Sunday, July 22nd, 2007. Coffee grounds brewed trouble for fortune teller. Jaffa, Israel. For nearly a quarter century, Sana Kuma has been staring into the bottoms of coffee cups to divine the future for top Israeli models, actresses and businessmen. It is in the swirls of coffee grounds that the dark-eyed, lemon-blonde 40-something fortune teller can see what lies ahead. Her fawning customers consider Kuma a sage and soothsayer. To the Israeli government, she was a witch and a fraud. This year, Kuma became one of the few people ever to be charged in Israel with practicing magic, a unique crime punishable by up to 5 years in jail. In short, Kuma was the target of a modern-day witch hunt. "Life is enemies and friends," Kuma said recently, after doing a coffee ground reading for a former Miss Israel. "I have to accept the good and the bad." Kuma's transgression is something known to its practitioners as tasseography. Put more simply, it is the ancient art of overturning a coffee cup, usually a demitasse used for Turkish coffee, and looking for answers in the patterns left behind by the grounds. And that, under Israeli law, can be grounds to charge someone with illegally practicing magic. "It's against the law to be a fortune teller," said Ofer Almog, a Tel Aviv attorney who represented Kuma and has become something of a specialist in defending accused witches. "The law," said Almog, "is vague and imprecise. It's okay to offer advice based on tarot cards and the stars, but not coffee grounds." More importantly, the Israeli government has to prove that people reading coffee grounds know that they are charlatans, and that is a difficult hurdle to overcome. Almog had no trouble finding well-known people willing to testify to Kuma's talents. The walls of Kuma's waiting room are covered with tattered photographs of the fortune teller with some of Israel's entertainment elite. There she is with model Mira Bohadana and television star Dan Shillan, and former Miss Israel Nicole Halperin, who stopped by Kuma's home last week to have her coffee grounds read. She has special abilities, Halperin said after her reading. She gives you ideas, names and events, and when she gives you specific names and events, it makes you know that she's special. It was the praise of people like Halperin that attracted Avraham Beho to Kuma. In 2004, the Israeli police officer was looking for help on the eve of his marriage. According to the government charges, Kuma looked into the coffee grounds and saw a cursed bride. To remove the curse, Beho agreed to pay Kuma about $1,000 for the help of a special Jordanian sheikh brought in to deal with the problem. When that was done, Beho turned to Kuma for advice about his ailing father. Kuma told the police officer and his sister that their father was likely to die in 2 months if they didn't act quickly. So Beho paid another $2,200 for a series of amulets, which he was to dip in honey, burn or throw into the sea. But Beho's father didn't get better. So earlier this year, he turned to the government, which filed fraud and magic charges against Kuma. She has no talents. She can't heal people, Beho said. If you know how to read people, you can talk like you know their horoscope or can read their future. Every person can figure out a person, but only a doctor can heal someone. She can't. Kuma hired Almog, who set about preparing testimony from celebrities to show that Kuma was the real deal. There is a problem defining magic in the law, Almog said. You have to be pretending for this law to include you. If you ask, Kuma will tell you that she is the descendant of a famous fortune teller, that she has seen dwarves and walked in the company of saints. Maybe you would say that I am crazy or strange, Kuma said, but what I am saying is true. In the end, the Israeli government decided that proving Kuma was faking it was too difficult. Almog cut a deal. The state agreed to drop the charges and Kuma agreed to give Beho a full refund. In light of the fact that there is no clear judicial decision how to determine the crime of magic, and in light of the willingness of the accused to fully return the money to the complainant, we decided that public interest would be best served by withdrawing the indictment in this case, the Justice Ministry said in a pre-prepared statement. That might have been the end of it, but Beho that he's not satisfied. And I know that doesn't read right, but that is what it says. I'm assuming it's meant to say that might have been the end of it, but Beho said that he's not satisfied. I mean to sue her in a civil court, he said. She's cheated a lot of people.
Well, there we are. Your life in a cup of tea. I do like a cup of tea myself. I'm going to be enjoying cups of tea in my new teacup from Tim and Hilda Mendham. Again, thank you very much. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Here it is. Just having another look at it here in its display box. Very nice. And thank you. Put it away before the cats get to it. And thank you very much to Lara Benham to record some Trove. And she's doing it from her own studios. Her very own studios. I wonder what she'll call them. I wonder. Lara's Lounge. Lara's Lair? Lara's... we'll think about it. But you too can think about all sorts of things and find out all sorts of things when you visit Trove or Google Newspapers. Put in your search, because you never know what you might find. Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast this week. Thank you to everybody who contributes to the Skeptic Zone via PayPal or Patreon for another year. Thank you very much. And it will come as no surprise to you, Susan Gerbic, that I am now seriously considering upgrading my studio microphone again. Oh, come on, give me a break. I do like getting nice microphones. Susan always thinks I have too many microphones. Coming up on next week's show, Woo Watch with Kate Thomas, our relatively new reporter. Kate, the star of TikTok. I wonder what woo she'll be watching next week. We'll have the newsletter from the Australian Skeptics, read by Adrienne Hil, written by D. And who knows what else? It's a mystery. Maybe between now and then I'll be attacked by psychics. You know what? Now I think about it, I have been attacked by psychics in the past. They have said some very unkind things to me. But for this week, this is Richard Saunders signing off from Sydney, Australia.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. Please visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for episodes and show notes with links going back to 2008. You can follow the Skeptic Zone on Facebook, X, TikTok and YouTube by clicking the links at our homepage, together with links to support the show financially via Patreon or PayPal. The Skeptic Zone is an independent production. The views and opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of the Skeptic Zone podcast or any other skeptical organisation.